After an epic month of October, the first week of November found us in Minnesota, Kansas, Iowa, and myself in South Dakota for a week of hunting before I headed back to the Midwest to meet up with the guys to hunt the peak of the Rut. Coming off several good buck encounters in late October and with great weather ahead, I was optimistic I'd get an opportunity at a buck in short order. But that optimism was quickly met with reality as I hunted the best spots on this property and had almost nothing to show for it. Not only was I not seeing any bucks, I was hardly seeing any deer from the stand, period. In fact, the only excitement I'd had was an encounter with a coyote on the morning of November 4th.
Give that coyote a shave.
At this point, it would be easy to get discouraged, but my previous experience hunting in this area has been that the rutting activity seems to occur slightly later than what you would expect. While I've had some great hunts here in the past couple years, I've seen very little cruising, chasing, or rut-related behavior during the first week to 10 days of November. In fact, at times, I've seen bucks traveling together as if still in bachelor groups. And most of the deer activity I've seen is simply bed-to-food travel. In 2021, I had a similar experience, and when I shot my buck on November 10th, it was only the fourth deer I had seen from the stand at that point. But a couple days after that, it seemed like there was an explosion of rutting activity, and I saw over 20 deer, including several shooter bucks, all in one spot on this property. So with that experience in mind, I knew I needed to reset, get my eyes on more of this property, find where the deer were coming out, knowing that if I could at least locate a family group of does and fawns, that I'd eventually find the bucks as well. So on the evening of November 4th, I glassed the west side of the property where I'd seen that large group of deer in 2021. And sure enough, there was multiple family groups of does and fawns coming out of the hills and feeding in the hayfield below. By the end of the evening, I had tallied 15 antlerless deer, and even though I didn't spot a buck, I was confident that it would just be a matter of time. 2 days later, I had perfect conditions to hunt that spot and carefully scouted my way in. In fact, I had slipped in so close that I had to wait for a group of does and fawns to get up, head down to the field so I could slip in and set up right where they had been, in a spot that would give me the best shot opportunities at any deer coming out of the hills heading towards the hayfield. As soon as I'd got set up, I had does and fawns around me, and by the end of the evening, almost all of them had passed within bow range, with none of them knowing that I was even there. The only downside to that evening was I didn't see any bucks with these does. But once again, I knew it was just a matter of time. The bucks would be there. 3 days later, I had the same wind to hunt that spot, and even better yet, it was 15 degrees colder with a strong northwest wind and a snowstorm blowing in that evening. Well, I just got out to the property that I'm hunting here. It is shortly after noon, and there's a bunch of deer already up on their feet. There's a snowstorm moving in tonight, so they're up and feeding early. This is the hayfield that I scouted the other day, and this is probably a lot of the same does and fawns that I saw that evening. It's good to see that they're moving, that's for sure, but it's going to make it tricky to get up into the spot that I want to hunt. Oh, there's a buck. Pretty good buck too. Following some does. That might actually be the buck I had an encounter with in late October. Had him on the edge of bow range and then he got spooked. That's what I've been waiting to see. Well, that's exactly what I was hoping to have happen in this spot. Find the does, find the bucks. Except that I'd be up in the timber with my bow in hand where I could actually get a shot. Hopefully they're going to go back up the ridge and bed. In fact, it kind of seems like that's what they're doing now. Buck is working his way back up in the timber. Does are kind of heading in that direction as well. Nice. Dog and the does. Yeah, there is a bunch of deer out here. There's more than I thought. There's another group of does and fawns on the hillside to my left. Now they're heading back up. Well, the main group of deer have made it back up the ridge and are out of sight right now. This other group are kind of browsing, and a couple of them fawns are bedded on the hillside over here, so I think I'm going to go park in a low spot, hop out in this waterway that runs towards where I want to hunt. That will hopefully keep me out of sight of this other group of does and fawns, and then basically I'm going to go right up behind where these other deer went up the ridge and try to get in a tree that I hunted it a few days ago. and it ended up working out really well. Just didn't see any bucks that evening, but I had a bunch of does come by within bow range, and that's pretty much where all these deer are going back up right now. So that should be perfect.
Oh, I just got set up. It's cold up here. It's cold. Last I saw, there was 2 main groups and a few stragglers. The one group went back up into the timber off to my right, and the other group bedded down over on a hillside looking over the field. So I had to drive around to a different spot, get down in a ditch, stay down low, and stay out of sight from those deer. So I'm set up here between 2 different groups of does and fawns, and this is where I saw that buck go back up into the timber as well. So he could very well be somewhere in this area, or he could be a mile away from here right now. Farther north is where I had the encounter with those 2 bucks back in late October. And then of course there's timber over here, so there's bedding cover all around. And I was seeing these deer come off of this hillside and then go down to the hayfield down below. And that waterway down there that I came through to get up in here today, I could see there was deer droppings everywhere in there, and there's green grass down in there where everything else is just dried up. So they're obviously spending a lot of time feeding in that waterway. And I'm not very high up off the ground. It's maybe 10 feet up at the most, and it's it's pretty much everything is eye level. But I've got a bunch of really good cover around me, and I would have an easy shot here if a buck came by or deer came by that I wanted to shoot. Just let them walk right into the frame of the camera right here and have all this cover to be able to pull back and make the shot right when they step out. And of course I've got wide open shots all across here as far as I would want to shoot. So anyways, we'll see what shows up here tonight. Hopefully there's going to be more deer coming down off of this hillside here. Starting to come out now. It's like a doe and 2 fawns up on top of the hill, kind of working down this way. And the lens keeps fogging up from all this light mist. It's making it kind of hard to see. Oh, there, a buck just popped out. Starting to pour out now. Bunch of does and fawns behind him. Another buck. A little bit bigger buck. Yeah. It's that 8-pointer that I saw a couple weeks ago. Push that other buck off. Let's see if I can bring them down here. Got it. Yeah. Rattled him in. That was awesome. There was at least 2 bucks up there. I believe that was the first one, a nice 8-pointer. Then they got behind this pine tree and kind of walked away, and then a couple fawns blew. I'm not sure what they blew at. It wasn't me. My scent is going like that. It's perfect. And then I kind of lost track of all the deer up on top of the hill. I couldn't tell if they went over, if they spooked, or what the deal was. So I just grabbed the antlers quick, rattled, hoping to bring that 8-pointer in. Shortly after I rattled, I could see a deer coming behind that pine tree. So I just had to basically set the camera, pointed in the opening. You know, he was looking hard in my direction, so I just had to wait. Then he committed, start working left. I drew back as he was right in line with these pine branches here. And he was in the wide open for me, like 23 yards, but unfortunately for the camera, it was just barely in the screen. And I waited. I wanted him to walk out more into the open, get a little bit better footage. But he looked over, you know, it was either now or never. So the footage of the shot probably isn't great, but overall, I mean, just what a fun hunt. Ooh, there's more deer coming out. I mean, they are coming out of the woodwork. Another string of does and fawns up there. That lens is almost completely fogged up. This mist made it real hard to get good clear footage tonight, but it also made for a really cool setting to hunt in with all these pine trees coated in this frost. But it was a 23-yard shot. I held my 20-yard pin right in line with his leg, but low, you know, low heart level. And it looked like he ducked right into it. And as he took off, he just kind of head down, just barreling. He made it into the next block of timber over there, but I'm guessing not very far in there. But he had that good hunt in late October, and then since then, it has been nothing but struggles. You know, just not seeing deer most of the time. Then finally found this group of does and fawns. That's awesome though. Just a nice Black Hills, South Dakota buck. I'm thrilled with that. Beautiful foggy evening here. Deer moving like crazy and rattled them in for a shot. Yeah, that's awesome. There's a setup. Platform is maybe 9 feet off the ground. Not very high up there, but it works when you got that cover and back cover. I just went back to the truck, dropped some gear off, grabbed the good camera lights, and back out here where I shot now. And I don't see my arrow right offhand. Lighted knock must have got turned off or something. Either that or the deer carried the arrow with him, but I'll go get the buck taken care of and then come back and look for the arrow. But man, I'm fired up. I know Mindy's gonna be upset that she left today, and of course that would be the afternoon that I shot the buck. She left about 10 o'clock, and about 6 hours later, I got a buck down here. I mean, it's bright blood. It's just spraying just at the edge of the timber right here. Probably made it just over the edge. More blood there. There. Good blood right there on that rock. Right there. Oh, see eye shine. There he is. There we go. Oh yeah, perfect shot. Oh heck yeah. Look at that. He's definitely got tall brows. 9-pointer, barely a 9-pointer. Gotta love it. He made it probably 75, 80 yards. Yeah, I'm fired up about that. That is awesome. And you can't beat this. Snow coming down. Man, it does not get any better than that. I can tell you right now, I'm glad I'm down in this bottom and in this low area that's protected. I can hear the wind howling above me, but he made it down into this little ravine here, and actually I think it should be pretty much all downhill to drag him out. So it was a little bit challenging trying to film tonight because the camera lenses kept getting all this freezing rain built up on it and made everything real foggy and hard to see. So I don't know how good the quality of the footage is gonna be, the actual shot of the buck at least, because when he walked into frame, like he was just barely in the corner, kind of behind a pine branch. But at that point, he had, he'd stepped into the open. He didn't act spooked, but he was kind of on alert, like he's looking for the source of a sound. And then of course, when the bow goes off, he's gonna react to that. So I aimed straight up the leg, but holding low, anticipating that he was gonna duck into it. At 23 yards, they can duck a pretty good way. So I was aiming just above the body line, basically aiming for low heart, anticipating that he's gonna duck into it. And it hit him perfect. Took out both lungs and probably the top of the heart or an artery or something. I'll find out when I field dress him here. I want to look and see what it did. Anyways, just what an awesome hunt tonight. Like I've said before on these previous hunts, I love hunting in the Black Hills. Mindy and I, we live out here now. And actually my dad shot a really nice buck, a big 8-pointer a couple weeks ago, late October, first time he sat, shot a great buck. And then he and my cousin are coming back after Thanksgiving for a late November, early December hunt. So hopefully I'll be around for that. My buck tag is filled, my dad's buck tag is filled. So now we get to focus on helping my cousin Ryan get a deer, and also I've got a doe tag. So hopefully that works out, that I can come hunt with them again and continue that family hunt. Also, really appreciative of the landowner that allows me to hunt here. This is 3 seasons now. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, my first buck living in South Dakota. Hopefully have many more to come here. Now it's back to either Iowa or Kansas. Ted has a Kansas tag still, Aaron has an Iowa tag, and Zach may be going back to Minnesota. So one of those 3 states I'll be going to here shortly.